This is another one of Fitness Blender's low-impact cardio workouts. Now for this workout, we're going to be going through 10 different intervals and we're going to be doing each one for 50 seconds. We're going to go through the whole round 3 times through, and for this routine, we're not going to be using any equipment. Now we haven't included a warm-up or a cool-down, so you'll want to be sure to get both of those in. So if you have your warm-up done, let's go ahead and get started with our first exercise, which is going to be 50 seconds of a slow burpee plus a high kick. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Going down 1 foot at a time for those burpees. When you come back up, kick with both feet. Make sure when you drop back down to that next burpee, you alternate which foot you used last time. So make sure that when you drop down, leading with your left foot first. The next time you do it, you lead with your right foot first. Keep that motion going nice and slow under control. Keep those lungs open, making sure you're getting a nice full extension, getting those hips nice and low down to that full plank position before you come back up. And we're almost done, just about 5 seconds left. Just keep that motion going as long as you can. And let it relax. All right, good job. Let's go ahead and move on to our next exercise, which is going to be a back bow plus a toe touch. Now we're going to be rolling back and forth on this one, so you need a fair amount of space. If you have a mat handy, grab that. Otherwise, any other soft surface will do. Go ahead and lay down flat on your stomach for the first one. Nice full back bow. Roll over onto your back. Crunch up towards those toes. Get a good full toe touch crunch. Then roll over to the other side, do another back bow, then roll back again onto that back, toe touch crunch, then roll again onto that stomach. Now be really careful to make sure you're doing the same exact motion we are. You're actually doing 2 rolls and then 2 rolls back, because if you don't do that, then you're always going to be rolling on just one side of your body, and that's going to create an imbalance from left to right. So you always want to try to make sure that you're doing the same motion on the left side and the right side. Now just keep going, watching that form, making sure you're getting a good form on that crunch up to those toes, making sure those arms and legs stay straight when you're doing that back bow. Make sure you get a nice tight squeeze every single time. We have just a few seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and go ahead and let it relax. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next exercise, which is going to be a squat plus a leg lift. All right, let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Nice deep squat with those knees together. It's more of a ski squat. So those feet relatively narrow, about shoulder width apart or narrower. Then you're going to come up. Nice full extension on those legs. And one leg's going to come up and out to the side, trying to keep that torso straight up and down. Get a nice tight squeeze to the outside of that thigh as you lift that leg up. And then drop that foot back down. Nice deep squat again. And then that opposite leg comes up. Just make sure you're alternating every single time. Again, primary focus is when you bring that leg up and out to the side, you want to try to keep that torso perfectly straight up and down. At the same time as getting a really nice deep squat, trying to get those hips down nice and low, keeping your weight evenly dispersed between your toe and your heel. We have just about 10 seconds left. Just keep that motion going nice and strong. Keep those lungs open. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. All right, good job. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is going to be a knee tuck plus a leg lift. Now, it's really similar to just a really slow mountain climber plus a leg lift. So let's go ahead and get ready for that. We're going to start up, dropping out into that full push-up position. Come up onto those hands and toes. Drive one knee underneath and the opposite knee. Then lift a leg and then the opposite leg. And then start again, this time leading with that opposite leg. So whichever is the last leg you use for that leg lift is the first leg you use for that next knee tuck. Just keep that motion going. Keep those hips as low as you can, especially on that knee tuck portion. Make sure you get a tight squeeze on that glute as you lift that leg up, but try not to let those hips over-rotate. You want to keep those core muscles really nice and tight. Just keep that motion going. Again, keep those lungs open. And if you want to keep those arms locked out, that's going to make the motion just a little bit easier. If you want to make it a little bit harder, then go ahead and bend those elbows slightly. It'll make that tricep and that chest have to work a lot harder to hold that position. We've got just a few seconds left. Just keep that motion going. Remember alternating which foot you lead with every single time. Almost done. And let it relax. All right, good job. Let's go ahead and move on to our next exercise. This one is going to be a side plank with a pulse. So you're doing a side plank. It's kind of like a side hip raise, but you're only moving at the very, very top of that range of motion. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Bring those hips up nice and high. Remember, try to get to just the very top of that range of motion, just a couple of inches of the very top of that range of motion. Tight squeeze on that oblique. Don't let those hips drop all the way down to the mat. You want to keep everything up as high as you can the entire time. Remember, this is just a pulse, not a full range of motion. So really tight squeeze, just a couple of inches at the top of that range of motion, mainly focusing on the outside of that thigh for that bottom leg, and the oblique on the bottom side of your body. Now, if you want to switch to a slightly easier version like Kelly's doing here, you can pull those knees in so you're actually stacked on top of those knees. Just a little bit different leverage should make it a lot easier. Otherwise, just keep those feet fully extended if you want the hardest version. Just keep it going. Got about 10 seconds left. Keep those lungs open. Again, just pushing to the very top of that range of motion. 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. Good job. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next exercise, which will be the exact same one, just on the opposite side. So we're going to switch sides, doing that same side plank pulse. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Again, start with those feet extended out if you can, a full extension, stacking those feet, get those hips up nice and high, just a couple of inches at the very top of that range of motion. Keep those lungs open. Nice tight squeeze every single time. Again, this is going to work that oblique on the bottom side of your body, the one closest to the mat, and that bottom leg, the leg that's closest to the mat. So for example, in this one, Kelly's set up on her right side, so her right oblique and her right leg are what's getting the work here. Go ahead and bend those knees if you want the easier version, otherwise keep those legs out fully extended. Keep those lungs open, still concentrating on just getting that very top of that range of motion, just a couple of inches at the very top, making sure you get a really tight squeeze every single time. Just keep those lungs open, keep those hips moving. Only have a few seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. Nicely done. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next exercise, which is going to be a bicycle crunch. All right, let's go ahead and get ready, laying flat on your back. You're going to extend one leg out straight, the hands back behind your head. Tuck one knee in, just alternate back and forth, doing a nice big elliptical or circular motion with those feet. So you don't want to go out and back, you want to actually do a nice big circular motion with that foot, just like you're pedaling a bike. Alternating which elbow comes across, you want that left elbow going to right knee, right elbow going to left knee. Just make sure you're trying to get those shoulder blades up off the ground as high as you can as you crunch across towards that knee. Now with this, the bicycle crunches, you're allowed to bring that knee in really nice and close over top of your body. This is a different exercise than doing the crisscross crunch, which actually stops that knee right above that hip joint. So go ahead and do a nice full range of motion with that leg, extending it out away from you as far as you can and tucking it in towards you as close as possible. Now you've got just a few seconds left, so keep those lungs open and concentrate on getting a really nice tight squeeze on those core muscles. And let it relax. Nicely done. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next exercise, the bridges. This one's going to be done on the ground as well, so go ahead and pull those feet in as close to that butt as is comfortable, and let's go ahead and get ready. All right, let's start up by bringing those hips up nice and high. You want all your weight in the heel of your foot and in those shoulders. You don't want to hardly put any weight in those hands or those arms whatsoever, just in the tips of those shoulders and those heels. So squeezing those hips up really nice and tight. Get a nice tight squeeze to those butt muscles, that hamstring, as well as even a little bit into that lower back. Just trying to constantly get as much range of motion out of those hips as you can. Dropping back down to the ground every single time. Give just a little bit of a hover above that ground, just barely touching the ground, making sure those muscles don't relax. Then squeeze it right back up. Just keep those lungs open and keep contracting those muscles nice and tight every single repetition. You've got just a few seconds left, so just keep that motion going a little bit longer. And go ahead and let it relax. Nicely done. All right, let's go ahead and stand back up for our next exercise. We're going to be doing a cross toe touch step. Now this one's going to help bring that cardiovascular rate back up since we've been laying on the ground. So let's go ahead and get ready for this one. And go ahead and get ready. You're going to be stepping back and forth. Nice long lunging step. Kicking that rear leg back behind you, getting a nice low kind of lunging step with that front leg, so you're going kind of down into a squat position or a lunge position, making sure you reach down towards that foot with your opposite hand. So that left hand down to that right foot, right hand down to that left foot, just crossing back and forth. Again, trying to get as much range of motion as you can, keeping all the rest of those muscles through your body nice and tense to get that cardiovascular rate back up and to burn as many calories as you can. And we're almost done, just about 10 seconds left. Just keep that motion going. Nice big full range of motion. keeping all those muscles nice and tense, keep those lungs open. We're almost done. And let it relax. Nicely done. Let's go ahead and move it on to our next and last exercise for this round. It's going to be front kick and a rear kick. Just going to be kicking back and forth, alternating left to right leg. And let's start up. So left leg in front, left leg rear, right leg in front, right leg rear. Just keep alternating back and forth at whatever pace you can control. This might throw you off balance a little bit, so take your time with it. Make sure that you're not snapping that knee straight. You want to get a nice full extension, but you don't want to snap it and kick it. Make sure you're getting a really, really high extension. You're trying to get that leg up as high as you can and make those muscles have to work as hard as possible. And same thing when you kick that leg back behind you. Just make sure you're keeping that body as stable as possible. You don't want to be out of control with this, so don't move too quickly that you get to the point where you're actually wobbling back and forth. Just make sure everything's really nice and solid the entire time. Now we only have a few seconds left to go. Just keep those legs moving back and forth. Nice full range of motion. And we're almost done. Just a few seconds left. And let it relax. Nicely done. All right, that is the end of round number 1. We're going to be coming back to round number 2 here in just a second. All right, let's go ahead and get ready for round number 2. We're going to be starting back over with the slow burpee plus a kick. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start up, dropping down to that burpee. Nice and slow, 1 foot at a time. You come up, 1 kick, then the other kick, then back down that burpee. Just remember, every single time you drop back down, you alternate which foot you lead with. Just keep that motion going, keep those lungs open, trying to get a nice full range of motion, getting that cardio up nice and high. And we're almost done. Just a few seconds left. Keep it going. And let it relax. Nicely done. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next exercise, the back bows plus a toe touch crunch. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Start with that back bow, rolling over onto that back, do that toe touch crunch. Keep rolling over onto that stomach again, do another back bow, and then start back. Roll back onto your back, do that toe touch, roll one more time, another back bow, and then start that whole cycle over again. Just keep it going. Focus on getting a nice full range of motion with every single repetition. Almost done, just a few more seconds to go. Keep that motion going nice and strong. Keep those lungs open. And let it relax. Nicely done. Let's go ahead and move on to that next exercise, the squat plus a leg lift. Go ahead and get ready. And start up. Nice deep squat with those feet close together. Come up from that squat, get a nice high side leg raise. Back down to that squat, and then another side leg raise on that opposite leg. Just keep alternating back and forth in between every single squat. Just make sure you're getting those hips down nice and low, keep that back nice and flat. And we're almost done with this one. Just a few seconds left. Keep it going. And let it relax. Nicely done. Let's go ahead and move on to the next. A knee tuck plus a leg lift. Go ahead and get ready. And start up. Go out into that full push-up position. Up on those toes and those hands. Start that knee motion. Then that leg lift. And then repeat that again, just leading with that opposite leg. So whichever leg you finish that last leg lift with, you're going to start your next knee with that one. So just keep that motion going. Remember, alternating every single cycle through which leg leads. Just keep those lungs open, keep those hips low. Almost done. Keep those hips down there. Keep those legs moving. We're almost finished. And let it relax. Nicely done. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next exercise. Grab a mat if you have one handy. We're going to be doing the side plank pulses. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Bring those hips up nice and high. Remember, we're just doing the very top 2 inches of that full range of motion. So you want to get to the very, very top of that range of motion. Just a couple of inches, pulsing those hips up at the very top, getting a nice tight squeeze. Should feel this on that lower leg, the outside of the thigh, that lower leg, as well as the oblique on that lower side of the body. So Kelly's on her left side here, so she's going to be feeling it in her left outside thigh and her left oblique. Just keep that motion going, keep those lungs open. Now remember, you have the option to bend those knees to make it a little bit easier if you want to. Otherwise, keep those legs fully extended for that harder version. We're almost done, just a few seconds to go. Just keep pushing through it. And let it relax. Nicely done. All right, let's go ahead and get ready to do that same exact exercise, just on the opposite side. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Get those hips up there nice and high. Nice tight squeeze. Again, at the very top of that range of motion, just a couple of inches at the top of that range of motion. Keep those feet stacked. Nice straight leg. Keep those shoulders perpendicular to the ground and keep those abdominal muscles and those obliques really nice and tight the entire time. Again, you're going to be feeling it on the oblique on the bottom side of your body and the outside thigh of that leg on the bottom side of your body. Just keep that motion going a little bit longer. If you want to, you can switch off onto those knees to make it a little bit easier. Otherwise, keep those legs extended. And we are almost done. I know those muscles are probably burning like crazy, but keep pushing through it just a little bit longer. And let it relax. Nicely done. All right, let's go and move on to our next exercise, which is going to be the bicycle crunch. Just going to roll over, lay flat on your back. Go ahead and get ready. And start it up. Remember, one leg extended out, the other elbow coming across that knee that's tucked in, making a nice big circular motion with those feet. Just make sure that left elbow goes to right knee, right elbow goes to left knee. Just keep that motion going, get as much range of motion through that torso as you can, keep those abs and obliques really nice and tight. I know those abs and legs are probably burning like crazy, but keep pushing through it. We have a few more seconds to go. And let it relax. Nicely done. Let them stretch out for just a second. We're going to move on to bridges next. Go ahead and get ready. And begin with those feet as close to that butt as is comfortable on that knee. You're going to shove those hips up as high as you possibly can, all your weight in the heel of that foot and across those shoulders. Make sure that you don't rock up onto the toe of that foot. You don't want those calves to engage. You just want to have those hamstrings, glutes, and lower back contracting the entire time. Just try to press those hips up as high as you possibly can. Every single repetition, getting a nice tight squeeze, especially on those butt muscles. Now we're almost done. I know those glutes are burning like crazy. Keep pushing through it. Nice tight squeeze every time. And let it relax. Let's go ahead and move on to our next exercise, which is going to be a lateral toe touch step. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Stepping back and forth, left to right. Get a nice long step back behind you with that rear leg. Going down into a lunge position, but reaching forward with that opposite hand from foot. So that left hand goes down to that right foot, that right hand goes down to that left foot. It's a nice, long, deep lunging step. Just keep walking back and forth, nice, even pace. And we're almost done with this one. That heart rate should be back up quite a bit. And let it relax. We got one more exercise left to go through to finish off our second round, and that one is a front kick, rear kick. Remember, we're alternating left and right. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Left leg first, front and back, then right leg, front and back, and then start over again. Left and right. Just keep switching back and forth, just focusing on getting a really nice full range of motion. Try to get that leg up in front of you every time you're doing that front kick. Try to get as high as you can, and every time you're doing that rear kick, try to get that leg as high back behind you. Just try to make sure that torso stays straight up and down for that front kick. If you want to lean forward with that rear kick, that's perfectly fine to make it just a little bit more like a deadlift type motion. Otherwise, keep it straight up and down, and just lift that leg up as high as is comfortable, as high as that joint will allow without tipping forward. We've got just a few seconds left to go. Just keep pushing it. We're almost done. 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. Good job. That is the end of round number 2. That means we're going to be starting back into round number 3 here in just a few seconds. All right, this is our last round, so we're going to be starting back over again with those slow burpees plus a kick. Remember, this is your last round, so push every last bit of effort you have into it. Go ahead and get ready. And start up. Dropping down 1 foot at a time for that slow burpee. Coming up, kick on both legs, and back down using the opposite leg as you did last time. Remember, every single time you drop down, you want to lead with a different leg. Almost done. Just a few more seconds to go. Keep pushing it. And let it relax. Nicely done. Let's go ahead and move on to our next exercise. Dropping down to the ground, and we're doing a back bow plus a toe touch crunch. Go ahead and get ready. And starting it up with that back bow. Nice high tight squeeze. Roll over onto that back. Do that toe touch crunch. Keep rolling all the way back over onto that stomach. Another back bow. Then roll back again. Back onto that back. Toe touch crunch. One more time. Rolling back onto that stomach. Nice back bow. And then start that cycle over. Remember, we're doing it this way to make sure that you're doing an even number of rotations or rollovers on both the left and the right side to make sure you're even from left to right. You don't want to always be rolling just on one side. And we are almost done. Just a few more seconds to go. And let it relax. Nicely done. Let's go ahead and stand back up. We're doing a squat plus a side leg lift. Go ahead and get ready. And start up. Keep those feet nice and close together. Nice deep squat. Then as you come up from that squat, lift one leg up and off to the side. Keep that torso straight up and down. Then squat right back down again. When you come back up, that opposite leg comes up. Just alternate back and forth between those legs in between each squat. Just make sure you keep that back nice and flat for that squat. Get a nice full range of motion. At the same time as getting that leg up there nice and high for that side leg raise. At the same time as keeping that torso straight up and down. And we are almost done, just a few seconds left. And let it relax, nicely done. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next exercise, which is going to be the 2 knee tucks and 2 leg lifts. Go ahead and get ready. And start up, drop out into that full push-up position, come up on those hands and toes, tuck each knee underneath, then 1 leg lift on each side. Then start again. Remember, alternating which leg you lead with every single time. So whichever leg you finish that last leg lift with is the first leg you do that knee tuck with. And that way you're always going to cycle a different leg leading. Just keep that motion going. Keep those hips down. Keep those lungs open. Just a few more seconds to go. Keep those hips down nice and low. Almost done. And let it relax. Nicely done. Let's go ahead and switch on to that next exercise, which is going to be a side plank pulse. Remember, up on that left side, getting those hips up as high as you can. Just a couple of inches at the very top of that range of motion. Let's get ready. And start up. Come up onto those feet and elbow. Pressing those hips up the top of that range of motion as high as you can. 2 inches at the very top. Remember, get a nice tight squeeze on those obliques, specifically that bottom side, that left side. Just keep that motion going nice and strong at the very top of that range of motion. And we're almost done. Keep it going. Nice tight squeeze. And let it relax. Nicely done. All right, let's go and move it over to that other side. Go ahead and get ready. And start up. Get those hips up there nice and high. Remember, 2 inches at the very top of that range of motion. Tight, tight squeeze every single pulse. Just keep that motion going. Keep those lungs open. Keep those shoulders perpendicular to the ground. Keep those hips perpendicular to the ground. Just constantly doing that motion over and over. And we're almost done. Just a few seconds left. Keep pushing through it. I know those muscles are tired. And let it relax. Nicely done. Go ahead and lay over onto your back. We're going to be doing bicycle crunches next. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Hands behind your head. Kicking those feet in that circular pattern. Out and in. Making sure you're tucking that knee over top of your body really nice and close. At the same time as extending that opposite leg out for as far away from you as you possibly can. Making that big circular pattern with those feet. Left elbow to right knee, right elbow to left knee. Get a tight, tight crunch on those obliques and those abdominal muscles, rotating those shoulders back and forth. Just keep that motion going. Keep those lungs open. Keep pushing through it just a little bit longer. We are almost done. Just a few seconds left. And let it relax. Nicely done. All right, let's go ahead and move on to those bridges next. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start it up. Bring those hips in as close to that butt as is comfortable. Then bring those hips up as high as you can. Tight, tight squeeze through that hamstring, those glutes, those butt muscles, and that lower back. Trying to shove those hips up to the maximum range of motion every single time. When you drop those hips back down, make sure you don't let those that butt actually touch the ground. You want to make sure those muscles stay completely contracted the entire time. Just a little bit of a hover, then squeeze them right back up, never letting those muscles relax. Just keep those lungs open, constantly pushing that full range of motion. And we're almost done. Keep it going. Tight squeeze and let it relax. Nicely done. All right, go ahead and stand up. We're going to move on to our next exercise, the lateral toe touch steps. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Stepping left to right. Remember, a nice long, deep step, kicking that rear leg back behind you as far as you can. Dropping down on that front leg as low as is comfortable. Trying to get a nice full range of motion, kind of that lunging step left to right. Make sure you're reaching down towards that foot with that opposite hand from foot. So left hand to right foot, right hand to left foot. Just keep it going. Keep those lungs open. Try to get that cardio level back up just a little bit. Try to get that heart rate back up. And we're almost done with this one. Just keep it going a little bit longer. And let it relax. Nicely done. All right, let's go and move on to our next exercise, the front kick, rear kick. Remember, this is our last exercise of this round, and this is our last round, which means this is the last exercise of this routine. So push through it as hard as you can. Let's go ahead and start it up. Kick in front, then kick behind, then switch over the other leg, kick in front, kick behind, then start it over. Just keep going back and forth. Remember, when you kick that leg in front, try to get a nice high full extension at the same time as keeping that torso perfectly straight up and down. When you kick back behind you, if you want to make it a little bit more of a glute exercise, then you can lean over a little bit further forward with that torso to get a little bit more range of motion out of it. Otherwise, try to keep that torso straight up and down and only lift that leg as high as you can without letting those hips tip forward. Now just keep that motion going as fast as you can control without losing your balance, and make sure you're keeping those lungs open and all those muscles nice and tight. Almost done, just about 10 seconds left. Just keep pushing through it. Just a few seconds more. 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. Nicely done. This workout is complete. You just finished another one of Fitness Blender's low impact cardio workouts.